right, in your table of contents, I want you to add 2-3 expressions for a sequence. So what we're going to do today is write an expression for a sequence in a table. All right, y'all, this should be on page 13. Nothing's wrong up here. It should be page 13. Your pages should be 10, 11, 12, 13. Sorry. I thought I had gone back and changed that, but I had not. All right. You see that our indicator says translate among graphs, tables, and equations. So we have to be able to take a table and write an equation, or take an equation and make a table. Okay, so we've got to be able to do that, and we're going to work on that today. You do not have to write this because I have written it for you. If you were at home and you didn't have a printer, would you need to write it?
Yes.
Yes, you would need to write it, okay? Today's focus statement says, I can write an expression for a sequence in a table. Now, I have the paper for you to tape in your journal. I want you to tape it on page 13. It's going to take up most of the page. And y'all, you can listen. This is something that you have done before, okay? The first little part of this, you have done before, okay? It's not something new. All right, if you were at home and you did not have a printer, you could write this out, okay? Just like it is up here on this paper, all right? If you had a printer, just print it out and tape it in. Josh, honey, why are we cutting tape?
Because I got one today.
Do you remember the rules for tape? Maybe we need to practice. Do we need to practice at lunch? Okay. All right. Your data table can be written either one of these ways, okay? It can either be written long ways, which is horizontal, or it can be written up and down, which is vertical. And y'all, all I did was give you 2 examples right there, okay? That's all that's showing you, all right? So, right here, we've got a 1-step, okay? Right here, okay? So we've got to figure out how to get from 3 to 12. How many people remember doing an in and out table like this? You're given a number and you got to figure out how to get to the value, how to get to the number on the right. You've done this before, okay? So how can we get, if we're going up from 3 to 12, there are 2 operations that allow us to increase the value. What are those 2 operations?
Multiply
Or
addition.
addition. Multiplication or addition. Which one would you like to try first? All right, let's try multiplication. 3 times what is 12?
4.
4. 7 times 4 is
28.
28. So does that work?
Yeah.
Yes. 8 times 4 is, does that one work? Yes. 12 times 4 is
48.
48. Does that one work? Yes. N, this is where it gets tricky. N times 4 is, do I know what N is? No. Then all we can write is N times 4. Okay? That's all we can do. Now, what if I wanted to know what is the value of the 15th term? What would I do to 15?
Times it by 4.
Times 4. 15 times 4. What is 15 times 4? 4 times 5 is 20. Write my 0. Carry my 2. 4 times 1 is
4.
5,
6.
6. So if I have 15 over here, what do I get? 15 times 4 is 60. All right, y'all, you have been doing one step for a long time, for many years, okay? The only thing we're adding to a one-step table is what? A variable, okay? That's it. So all we're adding is a variable. And it can be a little tricky. You just can't plug in a number, all right? Now, let's look at this one down here at the bottom. We said that there are 2 operations that will allow me to increase my value. What are those 2 operations again? Multiply and add. So, how can I get from 2 to 7? Add. 2 plus what?
5.
2 plus 5 is 7. 3 plus 5 is 8. Does that work? No, does not work. So that's a no-go. So it's probably a 2-step equation, all right? Now, I have my steps right here on my chart paper, okay? And they'll be hanging up in this classroom. I also want you to take this on the left, okay? On the top left of your journal. And these are your steps for determining a 2-step equation, okay? And y'all, we're gonna go step by step, all right? All right, step 1 says to see what? See if one operation will work. Did we do that already? Yeah. Did one operation work?
No.
No. What does step 2 say to do? Find 2 consecutive terms. So let's talk about, oh, pen doesn't want to work. What does the word consecutive mean? Does anybody know? All right, so let me give you an example. 1, 2, 3, 4. Are those numbers consecutive? Yes, because they're right next to each other. 1 and 3, are they consecutive?
No.
Nope, because what did I skip?
There are 2.
2. 8 and 10, are those consecutive?
No.
No. 11 and 12?
Yeah.
Yes. 22, 27?
No.
No. 33, 34? Yes. 1, 5?
No.
No. 12, 13?
Yeah.
22, 29.
No.
No. 30, 31.
No.
30, 31.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Okay. It's got to be numbers that are one behind the other. Okay. That's what consecutive means. So let's find two consecutive numbers. Do I have two consecutive numbers over here?
Yeah.
What are they?
2 and 3.
2 and 3. So this is what we're going to be looking at right here. Okay? Right there is what we're going to be looking at. What does step 3 say to do?
Find the distance between the value of terms.
Yep. Find the distance between the value of terms. Value of terms are over here on the right. So I need to find the distance between 7 and 12. What is the distance between 7 and 12? 5. 5. Okay. Now, what does number 4 say we need to do with that number?
Multiply by that number.
Multiply by that number. So I'm going to do 2 times 5. What's 2 times 5?
10.
10. But that's not my answer, is it?
No.
What does step 5 say?
Add or
subtract,
subtract,
you get
the
value
value
of
of the term.
So how can I get from 10 to 7?
Subtract.
Subtract 3. And I get what?
7.
7. What does step 6 say to do?
Does the rule work for the entire table?
Does it work for the whole table? So let's see. 3 times 5 is
15.
15 minus 3 is
12.
12. Does that work? Yes. 5 times 5 is
25.
25 minus 3 is 22. Does that work?
Yeah.
Yeah. 8 times 5 is
40.
40 minus 3 is,
37.
did that work? Yes. Okay. So, n times 5, do we know?
No.
Nope. Minus 3. So I get n times 5 minus 3. Right? I can't plug a number in because they gave me a letter. Okay? Now, it asked me for the what? 25th term. So what am I going to plug in over here on the left?
25.
25. 25 times 5 is, if you have 5 quarters, how much do you have?
$1.25.
125. And now what do I need to do?
Subtract 3.
Subtract 3. 125 minus 3 is
122.
122. All right, y'all, we are going to practice this. Practice, 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 okay? So, what I want you to do, I want you to look at this slide on your iPad, okay? Before you go all the way to that slide, there's a way that you can, if you look at the top, the very top bar, it should have a pencil. Okay. I want you to click the pencil and then click to the slide, okay? All right, the first one that we're gonna do, I want you to copy this on the left side of your journal, okay? So, this table right here, I want you to copy on the left side, okay? I don't want you to write the word answer because we're gonna answer it, okay? I just want you to do everything and leave this box blank, okay? So, copy this one on the left side of your journal. Do that now. Does not have to be fancy, but you are going to draw 2 tables over there. Alright, let's talk about this. What's one way I can get from 1 to 7?
Add.
Add. What can I add?
6.
1 plus 6 is 7.
Yep.
3 plus 6 is
9.
9. Does it work? Nope. That does not work. So it cannot be plus 6. What's another way I can get from 1 to 7?
Multiply.
Multiply. 1 times 7 is 7. That works. 3 times 7 is
21.
21. Does that work?
Yep.
Yep. 4 times 7 is,
28.
does that work?
Yep.
Yep. X times 7 is,
We don't.
we don't know. So what do we write?
X times 7.
X times 7. Yay! Alright, let's try another one. I want you to draw this one on the left side of your journal. I want you to see if you can come up with the rule for that one. All right, Dustin, how do I get from 2 to 120?
You multiply by 60.
I multiply by 60. 2 times 60 is 120. 3 times 60 is, what's 3 times 6?
9.
What's 3 times 6?
18.
18, and I need to add a 0, so it's 180. 5 times 60 is, what's 5 times 6?
30.
30. Add a 0. Is that correct? Yes. X times 60 is,
We don't know.
we don't know, so what do we write?
X times 6.
X times 60. Okay? All right, number 3. I want you to do number 3 by yourself, and I want to show you something. If you have pressed the pencil option on your iPad, okay, I want you to see, you can write on your tablet, okay? On your iPad, you can write on it, okay? You do not have to copy this one down unless you were at home and you needed a piece of paper to copy it down. Then all you would do is write it on the paper, okay? Does that make sense? All right? Does anybody want a piece of paper to be able to write it down? If you do, raise your hand.
Can I erase that?
Yes, you can. Sorry. I want you to figure out the rule from number 3. Alright, how do I get from 1 to 4? Josh?
Okay, 1 to 4 is times 4.
Times 4. 1 times 4 is
4.
4. 5 times 4 is
20.
20. 6 times 4 is
24.
24. X times 4 is
X times 4.
X times 4. Yay! Alright, I need a fist to 5 of how comfortable you feel doing one-step equations right there. A fist to 5. A fist means you what?
Not at all.
You have no idea what I'm talking about. I'm speaking another language. 5 means, doggone, I feel pretty good. Give me another one because I think I can do it very quickly. Okay, all right, so I want you to do number 4. You do not have to write it. If you want to write down the equation on your, the expression on your paper, you can. But I want you to figure out how do you get from here to here. We're still on one step, okay? When you think you've got it, I want you to raise your hand. Are you raising it because you got it? Okay. When you think you've got the answer, raise your hand. Y'all, you don't have to draw it. I just want to know. I want you to look at it and tell me, how do I get from the top to the bottom? You got it? All right, Bree, what you do?
I did 1 plus 3.
All right, 1 plus 3 is 4. 2 plus 3 is 5. 3 plus 3 is 6. 4 plus 3 is 7. 5 plus 3 is
8.
X plus 3 is
We don't know.
X plus 3. That's all we can do, okay? All right, y'all feel good, right? Okay, now, the two-step is where it gets a little tricky, okay? And you may have heard people talk about the two-step. It's a dance. I don't know how many of y'all watch Dancing with the Stars.
No.
Sometimes I do. It's not a show that I watch all the time, but I do watch it. Huh? If it's on, then I'll watch it. And you may have heard them talk about the two-step before, and it's kind of a tricky dance. Y'all, this is kind of a tricky thing to have to do, okay? You have to pay attention, all right? So, let's look. What does step 1 tell us to do?
See if one operation works.
See if one operation will work. How can I get from 1 to 2?
Plus.
Add. 1 plus 1 is 2, okay? 3 plus 1 is
4.
not 8.
No.
So will that work?
No.
Nope. What's another way I can get from 1 to 2?
Multiply.
Multiply. 1 times what is 2?
2.
2. 3 times 2 is
6. 9.
not 8. So that won't work either. So what does step 2 tell us to do?
Find 2.
Find 2.
Consecutive terms. 1 and 3, are those consecutive?
No.
Nope. 3 and 5?
No.
No. 5 and 7?
No.
No. 7 and 8?
Yes.
Yes. So I'm going to put a box around this because these are the ones that I'm working with, okay? What does step 3 tell me to do?
Find the distance between the two values of terms.
All right, so we've got to find the distance between here and here. What is the distance?
3.
3. Now step 4 tells me what to do with that 3. What do I need to do?
Multiply
Multiply
by
by that number.
Multiply by that number. So 7 times 3 is
20.
21.
21. Now, step 5 tells me to what?
Add or subtract to get value of term.
So I've got 21. How am I going to get to 20?
Subtract.
Subtract what?
1.
Subtract 1. Okay. Now, what does step 6 tell us to do?
This roll
Does this work?
Yep. Does this work for the entire table? So let's try it. 8 times 3 is... What is it, TJ? You got your paper right there. Hey, what is 8 times 3? 24. Minus 1 is... Does that work? Yes. All right. 1 times 3 is...
4.
No, 1 times 3.
2.
3 minus 1 is 2. Does that work?
Yep.
Yes. 3 times 3 is
6. 9.
9. Minus 1 is
8.
Yep. 5 times 3 is
15.
minus 1 is
14.
14. So x, what am I going to do with x? X times,
3. Take away 1.
so I have x times 3 minus 1. Okay? All right, let's look at number 6. I want you to do step 1, step 2, and step 3. Those are the only things I want you to do. I want you to do step 1, step 2, and step 3. Step 1 says to see if one step will work. Step 2 says to find 2 consecutive terms. Step 3 says to find the distance between the value of those terms. I want you to do that. Just those 3 steps. All right, which 2 terms are consecutive?
2 and 3.
2 and 3. All right, so let's look at those. Step 3 says to find the distance between the value. What's the distance here? 2. Now, what are we going to do with that?
Multiply.
Multiply. 2 times 2. All right, I want you to do step 4 and 5 and stop. Okay? So I want you to multiply by that number and then add or subtract to get your value. Okay? Multiply by that number and then add or subtract to get the value. All right, so what is 2 times 2?
4.
4. How do I get from 4 to 7?
Plus
Add.
Add what?
3.
I want to get to 7, so I've got to add 3, okay? So, 3 times 2, because we've got to make sure it works for everything. What's 3 times 2?
6.
6. Plus 3 is?
9.
Does that work? Yes. 6 times 2 is? 12 plus 3 is 15. Does that work?
Yup.
Yes. 7 times 2 is 14. Plus 3 is 17. Does that work?
Yep.
Yes. 10 times 2 is 20. Plus 3 is 23. X times 2, we don't know, plus 3. So what do we have? X times 2 plus 3. Okay? All right, now, I want you to do number 1 and number 2 by yourself. Okay? Now, I want everybody to look at me for a second. If my number gets smaller, okay, I'm going from 12 to 1. What are 2 operations that allow me to get smaller? Divide and subtract, okay? So we know that our operation's gonna have to be what? Either divide or subtract. Can you multiply?
No.
No. Okay? I want you to do those 2. Go ahead. You don't have to copy the whole table. All right, so how can I get from 12 to 1? Subtract. What am I going to subtract? 12 minus what is 1? 11. 24 minus 11 is 13. Will that work?
No.
Nope. What's another way I can get from 12 to 1? Divide by what? 12. 12 divided by 12 is 1. 24 divided by 12 is 2. 48 divided by 12 is 4. X divided by 12 is, we don't know, so it's what? X divided by 12. If you were typing this on the computer, you would have to use a slash, okay? You would have to use a slash. All right, number 2. Is this a 1-step or a 2-step? Okay, so how can I get from 1 to 7? Plus. 1 plus what is 7?
6.
3 plus 6 is?
9.
Will it work? So what should we do? All right, 1 times what is 7? 3 times 7 is?
29.
Will that work? Nope. So we got to go to step 2 over there on our list. What's step 2?
Find 2
Alright, 1 and 3, are those consecutive? No. 3 and 4, are those consecutive? Yes. Okay. So we're here. What does step 3 say to do?
Find the distance between the value of terms.
Alright, so what's the distance between 17 and 22? 22 minus 17 is
3.
17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 25. So what am I going to do with that 5? What does step 3 say, 4 say to do?
5 plus
Multiply. So I've got 3 times 5 is,
15.
now, step 5 tells me I need to do what?
And it's subtract.
So how am I going to get to 17?
Plus 2.
Plus
times
2.
5.
Alright, now we've got to check and see if that works for everything. 1 times 5 is
5.
5 plus 2 is,
7.
does that work? 4 times 5 is,
20.
plus 2 is
22.
22. 7 times 5. Well, 7 times 5? 35. Plus 2 is 37. X times 5 plus 2 is just x times 5 plus 2. Okay? Now, you also have an exit ticket, okay? Your exit ticket here is just 2 problems, okay? So I want your name, I want you to work out both of them, and then I want you to click submit, okay? When you get finished.